What's up, everyone? We're at Big Block, New Mexico. It's been really a brutal summer. It's been really hot, kind of like everywhere, and there's been a lot of gym climbing going on and just training in the gym. But as good as that is, and as much as I like training, there's always a part of me that needs to connect with a rock and be outside a little bit. And while a lot of the really prime areas right now are still not in season, there are some little local spots pretty close to town. This is like 20 minutes from my house, and it's an old kind of, I don't know, you could call it like a little training ground, but it's an old crag that it was actually the first time I went climbing outside, and there's some little top rope routes kind of like up there and beyond. So that was probably like 25 years ago. Some of my very first rock climbs outside. But since then, a couple years later, I started bouldering here quite a bit, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of little boulder problems in this cave, and there's some, there's traverses and a lot of problems up to around 8A plus. But since then, I hadn't really come back, and there is a guidebook that was released, and this guy Owen, he did like pretty thorough research on the area and talked to a lot of local developers. And with crags like this, you get a lot of variations and eliminates and just kind of different training problems. And there turns out to be a problem that I'm not entirely sure I've done before, and it's a variation to an old climb called Dish Dog. Dish Dog, from what I remember, was the hardest thing I did here back in the day. Something around like V12. Climbs up this face coming out of the cave and climbing up. But there's kind of like a slight variation that starts the same and then goes to the right. So I figured, instead of spending the day in the gym today, that I would come out here and just do a little outdoor bouldering, kind of feed the soul a little bit. In New Mexico, there's a lot of really good climbing, and we have hot summers here, and a lot of the good climbing is fall, winter conditions. So, we gotta kind of just work with what we got, and so that's still waiting. I'll probably have another like 6 weeks, 8 weeks until those areas start to get really good. So in the meantime, it's a lot of gym climbing, but I'm glad that we have kind of little areas like this that we could just kind of like play around in and touch the rock and get that little feeling going, because training's great and all, but it's important to remember to like really stay in touch with rock climbing and the feeling of the rock, and just kind of like the whole process of doing things outside and all that. And that's just kind of like the heart and soul of what we do. So too much gym climbing can be an issue unless you're a comp climber, because then your goal is climbing in the gym or on plastic. But if you're a rock climber, there's a good combination that you need to do and a healthy balance. So that's what we're out here to do today. Warm up phase 1, check. So, kind of did the moderate circuit, or at least a couple of them. So now I'm gonna step it up a little bit, do some fingerboarding. I'll do 1 or 2 more warm-up problems, and then I'll get started on the hard one. And then afterwards, I'm probably going to do a little bit of volume on some of like the, you know, 7C, 7C plus, 8A boulders. Just kind of see how many I can do. This one's kind of one of the classics of the crag. V6, called the Pegboard. It has these cool little like pocket edge things. You kind of just do a little campus at the end. So, we'll see how much I remember. Warm up the fingers a little bit. Tricky thing here is the feet, really. Because the hands are all like pretty good. You get this like complete 90-degree lip here. When you get your hands over, kind of lose your feet from underneath, and then everything on top is pretty flat or slopey. Of course, can't really tell, but the rock is really glassy. So even small little edges are really slippery. But it's good training, you know, like really tense finger strength and like core tension that you gotta like connect with your hands onto really slick feet, you know. So it's good practice. And the heel hook could be good. Just try it. possibly get there. Solid rock. For those wondering, just because I always kind of like seeing this, is here's some hold description. So this is the first hold of Dark Wave. Try to steady my hand a little bit. It's actually the smallest hold on the climb. Quarter pad, pretty in cut, pretty sharp little edge. And then you move up to this brick, which is actually rather good. It's just super slopey and glassy a little bit, so it's just that limestone glassy feel, really slick. Flip down to this guy, which I actually found rather difficult just because it's slopey and in these conditions, you know, so I kind of get it like split finger like that. And then the crux move for me at least was bumping to that gas stone, which is actually pretty small. It's like 2 fingers. You know, the front 2 fingers and then back 2, kind of more slopey. And you come in, you get the side pull, and as you can see, the holds just get better at the end. So it really kind of comes down to the move off of this side pull there, up to that thing, and bumping. And then once you do that, you're pretty good. Desperate. Alright, so that was Dark Wave. It's they call it V13 or 8B. I think maybe with my beta it's rather 8A plus, maybe V12. But still nice to do something. You know, climbing here in the summer isn't always easy, so just getting out on rock and being able to pull hard and try some nice things is always a plus, you know, beats the gym, that's for sure. You know, we'll see how temperatures change in the coming weeks. I hope to get back to some of my, you know, main projects I have down here. You know, today is like 95 degrees or something like that, so you know, it's still a little warm, especially for the bouldering project in Ponderosa and one of the routes I bolted down south. So I'm gonna run a little circuit on some of the other classics around here in terms of like temperature. You know, rifle is pretty warm, it's limestone, it's greasy, and you know, you never really got amazing conditions in the summer, but we still went pretty much every weekend and as much as we could. You know, this is no rifle, but at least it is climbing on rock outside, so you get some fresh air, you see the sunlight, and it's just a nice way to break up the training. I'm gonna rest a little bit and get some water, and then I'll start trying a few of the other classics here. Probably be it for today. Hot. All right, well, that's a wrap. Managed to do most of the main hard climbs this session, and so I feel pretty worked now, and it's starting to get proper hot. You know, the sun's kind of creeping in here a little bit, and you know, despite like, you know, wanting to train on the rock and be outside a little bit, there's a limit, you know, so I think I'm gonna wrap up the session now, maybe cruise around a little bit, but hopefully next time I come out and start shooting, it's gonna be on one of the main projects I have for this fall. It's gonna cool down here in a few weeks, so we'll kind of just see, maybe do a recon to one of the sport climbing projects I have down south. It's north facing, so it has lots of shade. It'll be kind of like this, but much better rock, really good project, so we'll see.